Spike, Sunburst, A True Friend by Swedish W. Ever since Sunburst and Starlight had been reconciled their friendship once again after having seen each other for years. Even they at first had their friendship restart as a rocky one, but they has now started to talk to each other even more often by reading some letters to each other. But they were just another puzzle with particular Sunburst started to like as well, and it was actually Spike. Because if it was for Spike's help, Starlight would even get back to his friend had to restart their friendship with Sunburst once again. He wanted to thank Spike, but how? He wanted to be his friend, but at the same time he didn't know much about Spike. So he asked Starlight all about what she know about Spike, so he can maybe try to bring up a good friendship start with him as well. And Starlight told Sunburst all she know about Spike from what she's taught from Twilight and her friends. That Spike is always loyal and even fearless, but sometimes he can be a bit easily scared, but he always stays there for his friends and even loyal to do anything to protect them. So Spike is even the local hero in Crystal Empire that he said it twice, from Sombra and during the friendship games. So Sunburst had thought maybe he should invite Spike to Crystal Empire for maybe to bond, maybe to get some strong connection or even some strong friendship. But at the same time, he couldn't. For only one reason is that he was now very hard's personal magic teacher. And since he studied with his practice with magic very hard, it was taking a lot of time. Even when Sunburst had spare time, it was only for a day or so. Then he asked Prince Shining Armor and Princess Cadence for if he could have some vacation, or at least a short break from his study with Flurry Heart so he can spend some time with Spike. And both of them were surprised that he wanted to spend some time with Spike. Then he explained why. If it was with Spike's help, he wouldn't have restored his friendship with Starlight. And both of them agreed. Since Starlight helped to save part of the Crystal Empire from the storm during the Crystal Days. So they both agreed to give Sunburst 3 weeks of vacation, and he was actually very grateful for it. But then he decided should he invite Spike to Crystal Empire or should he go there? He even asked Shining Armor for any kind of advice. And according to Shining Armor, he said, just go to Ponyville for a vacation. You have been here for months. It is for almost a couple of years. Why don't you just go to Ponyville for a change? And Sunburst took the advice, so he took the train all the way to Ponyville, and Starlight was the only one who knew about it. And he was happy to see Sunburst again, and he explained to them to Twilight why he was there. And Spike wasn't even in the castle that time. He in fact wasn't even in town. He was actually outside town with the Kurimar Crusaders for helping them for finding some gems to Rarity's boutique. When he was back, he was happy to see Sunburst again, and he is still a good friend with Starlight. Sunburst told Spike that he wanted to be there just to spend some time with him so they could bond, and so as a thanks to him that he helped to start his friendship with Starlight after so long time. And Spike didn't mind to be a friend with Sunburst. But so Spike then said, why did you just go out, just take a walk through town and just talk to some spend some time? When they left the castle, Starlight and Twilight looked at each other and wondered, well, this is a great idea. Perhaps all we can do is to wait and see, said Starlight. Sunburst is a great friend. Even he's a great magician, so who knows? Yeah, said Twilight. So for the next day, during the day, Sunburst learned all about his Spike's interventions as part of how he saved the question during the friendship games, the question games, during the Sombra return, and even he managed to help to rechange how to accept Thorax part of the Crystal Empire's community for a while, and even then, all of his told about Spike's past, that he was hatched by Twilight when he was just an egg, that he knows nothing about his parents, nothing else. All of that they talked all about anything, they could brought up any top subject and they talked about it. Spike was actually starting to like Sunburst as a friend, but at the same time, he was very worried about if this friendship would even last, or even just be as a friend, as a true friend. But then, a couple of days later, Sunburst was actually practicing some magic with Starlight, and then suddenly they tried a new spell. It actually happened something. During this spell, it happened that it backfired somehow. This spell was actually something new that Starlight had created with help with Sunburst. Part of an ancient spell, part of that is something that they modified for some of their own new types, part of the spell. And this spell created an orb, a perfect sphere, trapped both Sunburst and Spike by pulling in, and it disappeared. So Starlight told Twilight and her friends about it, and they blamed Starlight about this because there was something they know, and even Twilight had tried this spell as well, even she didn't manage to work. So they immediately sent out a message to Canterlot and even Crystal Empire, so if they could spare any guards or any rescue, if they could send out any rescue or even guards or any patrols that look in the areas around there if they end up there. But so far, no traces of Spike or Sunburst near Crystal Empire or Canterlot or even anywhere else in Equestria. Where did Spike and Sunburst end up? In fact, they end up middle of a desert. They had somehow been teleported from Equestria all the way to Southern Arabia. When they first, they were unconscious, but they woke up because of this strong heat from the sun. Where are we? Said Spike. I have no idea, said Sunburst. But what happened? Asked even Spike again. I think this spell must have backfired or even somehow teleport us there. I never seen if you tried this spell, says the Sunburst. You can never know this will happen. So, what do you think we are? Said even as Spike again. Sunburst didn't say any much. He just looked around at the sky and saw there was sort of bright sunlight, almost no clouds, and it was a desert as far as he could see. No cities, no mountains, nothing. Just desert for miles. If I had to say, probably in Saudi Arabia or something. Saudi Arabia? Asked Spike. So you mean we try to teleport all the way here from Equestria? But how is it even possible? I don't think the spell was that powerful. Me either, said Sunburst. So, could you use the spell to teleport us back? Unfortunately, it requires at least 2 unicorns to operate it, to use it. Oh, maybe we can somehow teleport from some others. Maybe you can teleport from somewhere in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, but I don't know where, Spike. I never been in Saudi Arabia. I only heard about stories about it and other people have been here. I don't know exactly where we are. We can be anywhere in the desert. We can take if we teleport us. We might even end up even further away from the nearest town, or even further away from Equestria. And he was right. It was not worth a try to do it, because they never know exactly where in Saudi Arabia they are. There could be some hundreds of miles into the closest town, and since then they don't know anywhere where they are, and they couldn't just teleport anywhere. But since Sunburst had his magic, he could still use his magic to transform, maybe to send, just to bring back out some shelter like umbrellas or something, or sunscreen. Sunburst made an umbrella just for himself for protection for the sky, for the sun. Spike didn't need any much protection since he was a dragon, and he could handle the heat. So they start walking, and walking, and walking. They walked for almost several miles. When do you think we're going to find the next town? Sunburst. I have no idea, Spike. It seems we will never find it. And we don't know exactly when the sun is going down. It could be still be in the middle of the day, or I have no idea, said Sunburst. And even then, Spike was worried. Will they ever find any town or any help otherwise? But at the same time, back in Canterlot in Ponyville, Twilight and her friends has still regular reports from either from Equestria, from Crystal Empire, Canterlot, Trottingham, and even some from Griffinstone. But no traces at all. Even Galaxy's star, Tirak, has had to start to help them, but nothing at all. There was no traces of them, nowhere. And since Twilight didn't know, even they used the spell, there was no. But Twilight said to Applejack asked, "Why can't we just not use the same spell again?" But Twilight said to her, "It's not guaranteed, Applejack. If the spell will transport us to the same where they are, we may end up somewhere some far different place where they are. They can end up in middle of the ocean, or we can end up in middle of the mountains or something." "Oh, right," said Applejack. "But why don't you just make me? Why don't you just use a spell to make my speed faster? I can fly faster around the question." "Even I did. That spell is only temporarily. Even if I use the spell, even you end up in like in Griffinstone, like in 10 seconds, and even then, the spell will only work back and then it stops. It only works for return for a turn and return." "Oh, perhaps maybe someone else. Maybe can you enhance the spell?" "Can't," said Twilight. "Since we don't know exactly where they are, we can't use any type of magic just to help them, to find them. Can we just use a map?" said Rarity. "Even we did, but how can we know for sure if this map would even find them as well? They could be far beyond the map's reach." "Yeah, but at least something." Starlight was quiet. She was actually studying the same spell over and over, trying to find out if she had missed any part of the spell. But nothing. She even studied the ancient spell. But nothing. She even tried to compare the two spells to see if there was something that shouldn't have been missed and has been altered. But no. Every time she tried to find something new, and it turned out nothing. And to say they tried almost up to the middle of the night. Still no reports from nowhere in Equestria about where their whereabouts. At the same time, middle of the night, Spike and Sunburst had still been walking for several miles more. Now that the sun has gone down and it was a bit colder, and Sunburst was still getting tired, so he started a fire with help with Spike. But at the same time, he could only use it. He was so tired, he could barely keep himself awake or even stand. So they decided to sleep during the night and to keep walking when the sun starts or rise in the sky again. But Spike didn't want to do it. He wanted to go home. He wanted to use the teleportation spell, but he told her it is too risky. And Spike realized that is true. But then, the next morning, after the sun had risen, the boat continued to walk. And they walked and walked and walked, almost like till sometimes around 2-3 p.m. afternoon. Sunburst collapsed. He was so exhausted. He was so tired of the fire, of this burning heat from the sun. I can't walk anymore, Spike. You go out without me. But Sunburst, we have to keep walking. I'm too tired, Spike. I can't. What would Starlight said if I came back without you? Do you think she would even forgive me to abandon her oldest friend, middle in the desert? No. No. So keep walking. Now, please, I'm asking you. And Spike just tried to pull him up, and he managed to, and he kept walking. But another an hour passed, and Sunburst collapsed, and this time, he didn't wake up. He was so exhausted, and also so hydrated. He was so tired and thirsty, he didn't drink water for almost the entire day. And he couldn't use a spell. Since he was so tired, he couldn't even use a spell anymore. So Spike told him, keep the umbrella over him, and he will try to run as fast as it could, run across around the sand to try to find any ponies who could help them. Any travelers, nomads, or even some sort of form of settlement released. I don't leave you here behind, Sunburst. I will be back soon, I promise, says Spike, and he started to run away. Sunburst was looking at Spike in the distance. Ah, nice doggy, and he collapsed. He was so hydrated of the sun. He started to see visions. He started to see visions of almost anything. Spike continued to look for any help, and after almost 2 hours of looking, he found a small camp not so far from this distance. And there was actually nomads, and he managed to talk to them. He told them about what happened, and that his friend is still far into the desert, 2 hours away, and he was so exhausted. He was like hydrated. He was not seeing visions. So they immediately took some help and flew over there with Spike on their backs, found him, and brought him to the camp. And just after some time, he recovered. Just a few days later, Starlight received a message from Celestia, told that Sunburst and Spike had been found in Saudi Arabia, and they had been taken to the capital city to be taken care of. And they were also guest honor in the royal family, and later they were brought back to Equestria to Ponyville. And the same when they arrived, Sunburst had told Spike, without his help, without his bravery, he would even survive. And he is proud to call Spike as true friend. And Spike said he would do the same thing to him as well. And Sunburst said, I would. I would do it over and over, no matter what would happen. I would save any one of my friends, even my true friends. You are a true friend, Spike. You are the most true friend that any pony can ever have. Spike was proud to be a true friend with Sunburst, and Sunburst was later traveled back home, but it took him at least another week before he's got full recovered from this heat. But at that time, he took it slowly with his practice of magic with Flurry Heart. And that's how Sunburst and Spike got their true friendship from hard time of this using a spell, end up in middle of nowhere, that Spike tried to do anything to save his friend, and then he managed, and they end up in a true friendship. That's how. The end.